Welcome to the City of Singles with your host, Chelsea Beller. Keep listening. All right. Hello.
Hi.
So, hello. Welcome to the City of Singles. This is your host, Chelsea Beller. And today I'm hosting Kristen Cachadorian.
Yes.
That's a proper way to say it.
Yes, that is the exact way to say it.
I don't know how many letters that name is, but wow.
That's a lot. There's 13 in the last name alone.
I think that's my whole name.
Yeah, I think there's 26 in my full name.
Oh my, that's the whole alphabet.
The whole alphabet. Yeah, I know. I know.
Oh, that's funny.
I think it's the same. I think Schwarzenegger and Cachadorian have the same amount of letters. And I remember counting one time, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, we have the same amount."
That's so funny.
That's irrelevant.
Yeah. It's still funny. Oh, well, welcome to the show. I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you so much. I'm
Yes.
honored. Absolutely honored.
Yay.
Love your show.
For those of you who are tuning in, as if this is like a radio show, so Kristen was actually the one who nudged me, gave me the little shove to do the podcast.
Yes.
So it's really just become this huge thing, huge part of my life, and I'm so grateful. So yeah,
I'm so
now
glad.
now you're a part of it.
Yay! I'm so happy to be a part of it.
Yeah,
Part of what you have created.
Yeah.
So cool.
So Kristen,
Yes.
tell us about yourself. Tell us your life. You came from Fresno, California. Why did you move out here, and when?
I moved to LA about, what are we in, 2019? Maybe like 7 years ago.
Okay,
About 7 years ago. Yeah, for school initially.
Cool.
And then I stayed to be in the industry, so I wanted to do production for a while.
Cool.
So I was
The behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, behind the scenes stuff. And that was so much fun. I loved that. Just like the being on set, like everyone running around, doing their jobs and creating something together. And it was just like so much fun. And I'd had a heart for Hollywood and the industry for a couple years prior to that, and knew I wanted to stay and just like really pour into it. And so I thought at first it was the production route, and so I was working on music videos. I worked at CBS for a little bit.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't know that. How cool.
Yeah, was trying to get on one of the shows there. I was in their mailroom for like I think it was 9 months, which was rough. Okay,
Really?
'cause, like
Oh, God.
it's imagine it. I mean, it only rains once in a while in LA, but when it rains, it pours here in more ways than one.
That is true.
And so it's pouring rain, and I have to drive around this little golf cart and deliver mail all around the lot. And so it's like the water's like like hitting my face. I like have a
Like a
raincoat
wave.
on. Yeah, it was rough. It was a lot of fun. Met a lot of cool people. And
cool.
but after that, I actually moved back home for a little bit to work for my
okay.
dad and his business.
Oh, what does he do?
And he has a construction company, so I would do
okay.
stuff in the office and stuff like
nice.
that. So it was fun.
That's so nice that you did that. I worked with my dad too.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
I was
so
his
funny.
little receptionist.
Really? I feel like I don't know. Did your dad want you to like take over one day? Like,
I don't know about that. I think he always knew I was gonna like go into acting, but maybe a small part of him did.
yeah, I think my dad low key like wished my sister and I would take over one day. But it's like, I'm sorry, it's not for me.
Yeah, it's not my passion.
No, not at all. And so, and during that time, I started dating someone. We were long distance. So he lived in Texas, and I was in Fresno, but we met in LA at school.
Oh, okay.
And during that time, he moved back to LA. He had sort of had plans to move back to LA anyway.
Got it.
Then I think I was more of an incentive to bring him here. And so we were still long distance, but not that long of distance.
Right.
And then that relationship went south. And
Literally.
yeah, very, very literally. Oh gosh, and just puns all over the place. And but during that time, I was just so beat up and just like depressed and really, really sad about the whole situation.
Yeah.
And so I moved to Orange County with one of my good girlfriends who offered for me to like stay with her for a little bit just while I figure things out, because I was a mess. I was such a mess.
Yeah.
And so Then I was there for 8 months, worked at Anthropology, just like,
Yes, Anthro.
yes, it was so fun. It was a beautiful place to work at. But I was just trying to like, okay, do something that I enjoy while I'm trying to just process through the breakup and stuff. And so, but then I got an opportunity to work for a production company in Burbank. And so
great.
that's what brought me to Burbank specifically.
Awesome. Okay, yeah.
But unfortunately that company went under.
Oh.
And so I was like, well shoot, what do I want to do? So I did casting for a little bit.
Oh, cool.
And then
how did you get into that? That's so cool.
Yeah, I got one of my friends was so some casting companies, agencies, they will actually want like real people, you know, so they'll go out and scout like on the streets. So one of my friends was doing that. She's like, hey, I'm scouting for this project. Do you want to like come and take some photos and be considered? And I was like, sure.
Yeah, why not?
I think it was for like Nike or something. And so,
Just do it.
Yeah, just do it. I just did it. And so I did it.
That settles that. We did it, Nike. Shut up.
Yep. Okay. We get it. And ended up getting a call back for that. And then I was in communication with the casting office manager or whatever her role was. And she was like, oh, so what else do you do? And I'm like, well, I just got laid off from my job. And so I'm looking for work. She's like, oh. Yeah. She's like, well, you seem cool. Do you ever want to work here once in a while? And I was like, sure, that'd be awesome.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and so I got to work there just like freelance, you know, 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah. That's that being at the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
It's crazy how true that is.
Yes.
Yeah, but you gotta work too, you know.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
And so yeah, that was really fun. But I think through that as well, I was like, well, all these people are coming in and out for their auditions. Like, I could do that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm filming them, and the auditions are so easy. It's just like, hey, where are you from? What do you like to do? Like, and they just talk on camera.
Right. Yeah.
And so I'm like, what am I doing? And people would ask me, oh, do you act? Do you model? I'm like, no. They're like, why? I'm like,
why?
I don't know. And really, I was just scared to get into it because there's just so many people. It's so saturated. Like, who am I to make a difference? And in an industry where like thousands of people are trying to do the same thing that I potentially would be doing. But
it's like trying to hop into a pond that's already full of fish.
Yeah.
And you're like, how am I going to stand out? I'm just another fish.
Exactly. That was my mindset and my excuse. You know, but excuses always come from like some sort of fear, just like insecurity.
Yeah.
But then just like I just did it before, I was like, I gotta just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it. And so I just did it. And so I like, you know, now I'm acting and modeling and mostly like commercial and print stuff, but pursuing that and
you got an agent or a manager?
An agent
couple
recently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a couple months ago. So yeah, it's only been a few months and like things are happening and so it's been really exciting.
Yeah. It's because you're a very positive person.
Thank you.
And it just, what's the word? It
emanates?
Emanates. Thank you. I was thinking exuberates.
Exuberates. I like that too.
Well, either one. But it just like comes off of you and people are like, I want her in this.
Aww, thank you. Yeah. I appreciate that.
Yes, totally.
So that's kind of a little of who I am. I also coach.
Yes, life coaching.
Yes. And that's amazing and beautiful and challenging. And so all of these kind of like new things are coming up and happening all at once.
Yeah.
Which makes for a really exciting and challenging season.
Well, it's so interesting to have so many eggs in so many different baskets, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
And it's not necessarily trying to bank on any particular one. You want all of them to succeed. And it's just, it fills up your life in so many ways. So.
Yeah, I love it all.
Yeah. Great. So
that was a long answer too.
No, it was awesome.
To a short question.
No, I was just like, well, what was the question? So you said you were in a long-term relationship that went south, and then since you've been here in LA or Orange County or wherever, have you had any long-term relationships that were, like, notable, I guess?
Yeah, I had, I've had a couple more since then. I mean, long term, I don't know if I would say like long term. That him and I, the one I was speaking about, we were together for 8 months, but it was serious. Like, talked about marriage, and we're really serious about each other, and really like loved each other, and but I had like. Yeah, long term, not really anything that's longer than that. But there have been a couple guys that have been like, I thought serious with, or like we were serious with each other.
Yeah.
But it just didn't pan out the way that that I guess I had anticipated.
Sure.
Which is good in the end. You know, you're grateful for it. But
right. Have you noticed any patterns? Maybe.
For me, yeah, like the few guys that I have liked and that we were dating or seeing each other, they talked a big game.
Oh, really?
Big game. Like, oh my gosh, you're the one. I want to be with you. Like, you're the one for me.
Sure.
But then, like, their actions didn't really follow that.
Yeah.
And for me, that, like, incongruency, I guess, of, like, okay, your actions not matching your words, so, like, where are you at really? You know, it just caused, like, a lot of confusion in me.
Yeah, of course.
And, like, made me really anxious around the relationship and stress, and I would try to have these conversations, like, hey, what's going on? But I don't know if it just wasn't always, like, received super well. So, which is, like, in the end, like, okay, you just weren't the one. You were not the, like, you weren't my person.
Right.
And so those were like tough situations, but ones that I definitely grew through. And I mean, through any dating situation, you understand more of yourself, and you know what you want, what you don't want, what you like and don't, things to look out for, and maybe things within my own self. Because I'm like, why do I keep dating these guys? Why am I attracting guys who aren't actually available, or who just have this pattern? I don't know exactly the answer to it, but it's definitely something that I'm more conscious of. Like, I tend to really throw myself into something that I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like, I love this. We connect. Like, we have fun. We have the same interests, or our chemistry is just like, you know, right there with each other. And so let's just do this. Yeah. And or I would kind of be reserved at first, but then they would express that, and I'd be like, all right, let's go.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And I would kind of like jump in.
Because they said it's okay. Yeah. So you're like, oh, okay. Yeah. Then this is okay. Mm-hmm. And then it wasn't. And then it's not okay. And then it wasn't.
Nope. and so, but now I know those patterns within myself, and know to, like, okay, even if a guy is like says those things, I'll know to, okay, kind of reserve my heart a little bit. Yeah. And like keep it held back, and like kind of, I mean, maybe I'll say this and then I'll try and explain it, like make them work for it a little bit more. I think I just really made it too easy to like grab hold of me.
Right. Because maybe you were, you know, so eager to like feel love. Yeah. And have that like, oh, I'm finally in like this good relationship. And because we're all eager for that. Yeah. You know, to some extent.
I think that is accurate, because I feel like I have all this love I want to like give to someone. I want to pour into someone's heart, and like know them, and see them grow and be a part of their life, and then be a part of my life, and just have that like partner in crime where like I got your back, you got mine.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so when something comes up that tastes like that, or that's, you know, feels like that, I'm like, oh yes, like this is gonna be great. Yeah. And I get like, oh, head in the clouds. Instead of like, no, actually look at like what's actually going on, and just like pump the brakes a little bit.
Do you think is that like a personality trait these guys have that maybe is specific to LA or California, or do you think it's just something that like you personally are attracting? Or
I err more towards like that's what I'm attracting, because I am the common denominator of all of those things. Like, it's me, and they're all similar. So it's like I have this sign above me, like, oh, unavailable men, come to me, like I'm your girl.
Right.
I don't know. I don't necessarily know like the deeper roots of that. I do believe that it's more so something that I am probably attracting. But I think that that's kind of LA as well. This like want what you want when you want it.
Yeah.
Instead of like, oh, I'm willing to actually go through the messiness of you. And I think when I started to bring up like the tougher conversations with these guys, that I was like, this is an avenue for us deepening our connection and our understanding and our growth of our relationship. So I'm going to bring up the hard stuff and the differences, the things that I don't agree with you on and you might not agree with me on, but it's not for the sake of conflict. It's for the sake of connection.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if everyone sees it that way, or that's not maybe how they interpreted that, because eventually it was them like starting to pull away at the presence of it. And so I would still like, hey, what's going on? I'm sensing this from you. What's really happening? And then they would, the most recent guy that I was dating, he was amazing, but it was like we would start to have tough conversations. And for me, it was like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just me. I don't know if everyone is like that, but for him, it was like, no, I'm actually not ready for this. It just seemed like he wanted the good of me, but not like the rest. And there's good, bad, and ugly, and messy in all of us.
Yeah,
and
of course.
I think when you are approaching a relationship and telling someone like you're committed to them, it's like what that communicates to me is you're committed to all of me. Like you're here for when I'm smiling, you're here for when I'm pissed off at you, and you're willing to just sit with me in it.
Yeah,
like we can fight through it, but at the end of the day, we know that we have each other's back, and if our same vision, our goal is like connection, then we'll figure out how to get to that point even in our differences. I don't remember what the question was. I'm like, did I answer what you said? So I think for LA, I think it is kind of a pattern of people, and I think it's common for LA and different dating stories that I've heard from other women of guys really liking them at first and then pulling away. And I think it's just...
Yeah, I've gotten that.
Yeah. When you get into something new, it is exciting. And it's like, oh my gosh, you see the good in this person.
Right.
Because they're feeling so good about you and you're feeling so good about them. So it's just like, oh, this is amazing. But then the dust starts to settle and you're like, oh, wait, there's actually other parts of them.
Right.
Like, I don't know if I'm ready to like...
Embrace
not like
it.
embrace. Embrace
totally.
all of it. So
so
you just gotta like, I don't know, try again.
Yeah.
Fail and try again.
Get back on the horse.
Exactly. Get back on the horse.
Next question. Have you come across the ever so popular LA casual dating style or like hookup culture, and what are your thoughts on it?
I have not in LA. I've been a little more focused as far as like dating in LA in that sense.
Did you experience that elsewhere?
Yeah, in Fresno.
Okay.
Fresno I did.
Yeah.
When I was when I was still living there. Not in the last like 8 years when I moved back, but before I moved to LA, I was very much like, it was just, you get drunk, you hook up with someone, you laugh about it the next day, and you move on. Or you see someone for a little bit, and it's like, you maybe like each other, maybe don't. It's like you don't really ever really know, but you're hooking up with them, but maybe you're hooking up with that person too, and that person. And it's just not like, it's just not serious, and that's just where you're at. You don't want anything serious, and maybe you want to explore, experiment, and try and find. Maybe that's your avenue of like finding someone.
Yeah.
For me, when I was doing that, it was because I was running. It was like I was afraid of like really being known and being seen by someone, because I didn't want to be rejected by them.
Of course.
And so it's a lot easier if I just, hey, you want to hook up? And then that's it, because like I'm having that momentary feeling of intimacy,
right?
But I won't have the potential rejection that could come with it.
Right.
But that ultimately for me left me feeling like, oh, well, okay, it was nice, I guess, but it didn't really satisfy me.
Right. That's fulfilling.
Yeah, because it's just your body. Like if my heart's not connected to this person, if my mind's not connected to this person, then but it's just my body. Like in the moment it feels good, but afterwards, you leave and you're like, okay, now what? Yeah. I don't feel like protected in that. I feel like I gave something that wasn't theirs to have. And so that's kind of my take on it now. It's like, well, is there, and I'm not saying this is how it is for everyone, but I would just, I think there are questions to ask if I were to find myself like hooking up with different people or in that kind of, like just way of living or thinking. I would ask myself like, okay, am I afraid again of being rejected? Like, what am I running from something? Am I using these people? Are they using me? Because am I still hurt from previous relationships and I'm wanting them to try and make up for it in some way?
I'm going to solve this problem I had with this person with this person.
Oh gosh, that never works.
Nope.
No way. Like the thing with whatever other person over there needs to be dealt with that person in your own heart. You can't try and bring someone else to like replace them, and like they're still going to be there and you got to deal with it. And so I think for me, if I found myself in that again, I would be like, okay, what's really going on? Why am I yearning for like, oh, I have to like this person or maybe this person, and why is it hard for me to just be still and just be with myself? Is there a part of me that I don't like right now that's hard for me to be alone?
That's such a hard question.
And I think that's that was part of it for me. Like I didn't really like myself deep down when I was doing that. And so it was hard to be alone with my own thoughts and my own feelings and my own insecurities. And so for me, when I finally got real with that and was like real with myself and started to love myself even in the ugly, I realized that, my need to sleep with a lot of people, like it's not as prevalent. Or to sleep with any, I mean, of course, we all got urges. Like, damn, it would be nice to be with someone right now. Like, but I'm not like a ravenous wolf.
Beast.
Beast. People are probably like, damn, girl. Chill. Calm down. Hey, you
calm your parts.
We all been there, okay? We all been there.
This is so true.
But I just find like the more I'm okay with just myself, with being my own best friend, the more I don't feel like I need to like, I don't know, just like give my body away in that way. And that's my own story. That's what's true for me. I think that would resonate with a lot of people. It resonates with me. Like a lot of last year I was in that mindset. I just wanted to hook up and not care about the next day, and it wasn't fulfilling, and I didn't like myself. I didn't like just using these men and then casting them aside, and they were just like, what the fuck? But it brought me to, then I was in a casual dating situation that then I thought would be something serious. This was just this last fall. And then that made me look inward and be like, oh, I'm putting something out there that I shouldn't be, because that's not what I want. And what was that something?
It was it was the idea of like, I want something casual, and
gotcha.
And I was putting this like sex crazed ravenous beast out there as like, this front, and then I realized that's what I was putting out there, and I was like, I can't. That's not true anymore. So I need to break down that wall and create a new wall. If that makes sense.
Maybe,
You get it.
Plant a garden.
Yes. There we go. Yeah, garden, little picket fence.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. A little more welcoming, but still like, hey, this is my property.
Yeah. You have to knock.
Yeah. I love that. It's a good image.
I hope that made sense.
I think so.
Okay.
It might, maybe not to everyone, but it'll make sense to some.
Okay. Well, you know. As long as one person out there is like, Chelsea, I got you, girl.
Yeah. Totally
Then it's
tracking.
So now I want to ask regarding your life coaching. Do you think you have like a different perspective on dating one versus other people? And also versus before you were a life coach or had a life coach?
Yeah. I do find that I have a different perspective than a lot of people in dating, primarily around like the sex aspect.
Okay.
Because for me, I have sex is like the most intimate act two people can engage in.
True.
Like on the planet, and it's the most intense act. Like having an orgasm is like,
oh yeah.
I mean, it's no joke. You know,
Yeah.
people like get addicted to it,
Oh yeah.
and so
It's probably the most vulnerable you can be.
exactly,
I think.
exactly. And for me, like, I need the mental connection and the emotional connection to come before any physical connection, and I need there to be like a commitment, like I'm with you,
Yeah.
like through thick and thin.
Right.
And so I am actually I mean, I haven't been perfect at this, but ideally I would wait until there's like an I do forever attached to it.
Wow, look at you.
Because it's I mean, I just imagine like our wedding night where it's like, you're never gonna leave, like we're in this together forever, we're gonna fight for each other through thick and thin.
Wow.
And now I get to give my body as an expression of that commitment to you forever.
Yeah.
And using my body and sex and more as an expression of commitment and as an expression of like connection, like we've gone through the depths together in our hearts. We've gone through the depths together in our minds. Now the body follows.
Right.
Because when the body goes first to seek that connection, then the mind and the heart try and like, I gotta catch up. Especially for women. I don't know if this is always how it is for men, but if I like, jump in bed with someone and say maybe I do have like an interest, I want to know them and I want to date them or whatever, then I feel a little more anxious to like get us to connect more in other ways. Because I'm like, well, we already had sex, like who are you? Like, let's get to know each other, like let's connect emotionally in our heart. Like, what are your fears, or what makes you come alive, like,
and tell
and
me your dreams.
And so I've just found that like that's how it's been for me historically, and just the patterns that if I let the physical come before the emotional and the mental and the spiritual connections, then it brings for me a lot of anxiety. But when it's like we know each other, we have this friendship, and you know my heart, you know my thoughts, and just we connect on that deeper level. I want the physical to be like a natural response of that deeper connection, not like the opposite. Because I think that's what's more natural. Well, I mean, some would would beg to differ, and I'm like, I'm not like 100% like this is how it is, but that's just in my experience what I've seen from my own life, and so just I think when I put myself in the moment of like, my husband and I are like saying forever, and then we're together like having sex for the first time, maybe not not ever, or maybe him, I don't know, not ever for me, but with each other, and I just imagine it being so like just ecstasy.
Yeah.
Like I can let go of all of my inhibitions,
Uh-huh.
all of my fears.
Uh-huh.
Like there's nothing holding me back from you.
Wow, yeah.
Because you've given yourself fully to me and I've given myself fully to you.
Right.
And I just think that would make for the most beautiful like experience. Yeah. And so of course I'm not dating someone right now. I don't I don't know if I'll adjust that.
Right. If that'll play out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But that's like where I'm at currently with
How
it.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's such a new and I guess refreshing thought on it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I know a lot if I tell people, they're like, "What?
What?
Why?" I'm like,
"Why would you do that?"
They're like, "Oh, I could never do that." I'm like, trust me. Like even thinking about that, like if I'm totally head over heels in love with someone, like I'm gonna want to have sex with them. Like I don't want to wait. Who wants to wait? But I just like, I think that'll breed so much trust too. For me at least, if my husband was able to say no, or like if we were able to say no to each other in that way,
right.
Then I know if someone else comes into their life to try and tempt them to like, have an affair or whatever, he'll be able to say no because he was like, no, I have sex with my wife.
Right.
Like, she's mine and I'm hers.
Yeah.
Because even leading up to it, like he didn't like have sex with his wife, which was me dating throughout, and does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it'll just like really cultivate this like trust. Not that you can have it without, it's like, not that it's like the only way. I don't think it by any means. But yeah, that's just kind of like what I imagine.
Yeah.
And yeah.
How cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's your like new perspective on dating and sex versus from before you were a life coach. It
kind of have been like, it's definitely developed more, that vision. Because since I've been a life coach, I'm like, and before I started being coached, like I heard about like, oh, have a vision and for your life and all this stuff. And I kind of had like ideas of what I wanted my life to look like. But since hiring a coach and becoming a coach, it's like, oh, okay, now I know a lot more how to like narrow down and focus my vision. Like this is what I want for life. And this is how I'm setting my life up for success. Right. And so all of that has definitely like developed more.
Yeah.
I did kind of like have this idea like, oh, that would be cool. But now I've like really allowed myself to sit with that idea and like even
make it a goal.
Yeah.
Wow.
And even like the struggles of it, like
yeah.
or the stigma or whatever comes along with it. But it's like I'm not living my life for anybody else except me.
Right, yeah.
So whatever.
Yeah. Like fuck anyone else's opinion.
Yeah.
Just like live your own life.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Yeah. So interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, coaching has changed a lot. Definitely my standards for dating have definitely gone up since coaching.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, okay, if I'm like here, like working on myself, working on like every day trying to grow and become the best, most like prosperous me possible.
Yeah.
If someone's not doing that for themselves, like,
yeah, get out of here.
Thank you, next.
Like, yes.
Boy, bye. I'm sorry. And like I'm sure they're a fantastic person, but like I want someone who has vision, who has drive, who has like every day they're pursuing something that they love.
Ambition is so sexy.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes. Oh yeah. Someone that you could build something with. I think a lot of times in the past I felt like I was the one laying brick by brick by brick trying to build this relationship and being like, hey, look what's possible.
Right.
Look it over here. Like, wouldn't this be cool? And they'd be like, oh, wow, that looks cool. From off in the distance.
Yeah.
But would never quite like come alongside me.
Yeah.
And be like, all right, let's do this. And so now I'm like, okay, I don't want anyone who's not willing to build with me.
Yeah.
And who isn't already building their life. Because if they're building something amazing for themselves, I know that they're gonna want to like pour into a relationship when they want that in that way, like build and create and have fun and just explore and experiment and just it's gonna be so much fun.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah.
So lastly, do you have a funny, strange, unique, or scary dating story?
Scary. I don't have anything scary. I wish never mind. I don't want to wish that. I wish I had a scary story. No, I do not wish that at all. I don't want a scary story just for the sake of the story. No, thank you. The thing that comes to mind right now, so I haven't like dated, like, oh, I'm going on this date and this date and this date. But so I've like, been in intentional relationships with people.
Yeah.
But the thing that comes to mind is, so I was having a DTR. I don't know if the people know what that. I'm finding more and more people don't know that term, and I'm like, I thought it was universal, okay, but apparently it's not. So DTR is an acronym for defining the relationship.
Defining the relationship.
So
okay, yes.
When you and
Good
when you and your dating person have a DTR, like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a DTR tonight. I'm gonna like bring up the DTR conversation or whatever, however you want to phrase it. So I was having one of these conversations with someone, and this guy he had already told me. He had already asked me multiple times to be his girlfriend within the first week of us kind of seeing each other.
Wow.
And I was like, you don't even know me. Let's just like take it slow. Like,
right, yeah.
even he was like, oh my gosh, I want to like you're the one. You're the one for me. Like there's
Calm down,
there are
boy.
no others. Literally after like a week and a half, I'm like, okay, hold on. Like I appreciate you saying that. Like words of affirmation is my love language.
Yes.
But you don't know me yet.
Yeah.
So just But he had been doing things that were like one of those things where it's like his actions were huge, or his words were like, "Oh my gosh, you're the one," but his actions, he's like, he would text me. He'd be like, "Hey, what's up? How are you?" And I would text back, within 5 or 10 minutes, or if I was by my phone right then, I would. And then he wouldn't text me back for hours.
What?
And I'm like, why did you text me in the first place if you cannot continue in this?
Yeah.
And it was just like very consistent. He would do that all the time.
Oh,
and so I was like, okay, I need to have this conversation with him. Like, hey, you're saying all these things, but like and texting, it's just it's one of the most, probably the most common form of communication now.
Yeah,
so it's
it
like,
really is.
it's a form of communication that you are expected to be proficient in.
Yeah.
Just like you would, like when you're having a conversation. Like,
Right.
And so if you're not texting me back, or if you're just like a shitty texter, like that's a reflection of your communication pattern.
Yeah.
And
Don't be a bad texter.
yeah, just communicate like normal.
Yeah.
And so I went over to his place and was having this conversation like, hey, you say all these things, but you're like, I don't know exactly what I said, something to the effect of like, but your actions aren't lining up in these ways, and I'm just wondering what's really going on. And I felt like I was being really vulnerable because I was letting him know like, hey, this is kind of what is bothering me. Like, can you talk to me? Can we come to an understanding? Like, what are expectations? All these things.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, this was after he'd already told me he wanted to marry me. Okay, it wasn't like... So my expectations for someone that tells me they want to marry me are going to be different than someone who like, we just go on a couple dates. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So during this conversation, I'm like, opening my heart up to him, like being really vulnerable. Yeah. We're walking outside. We're taking a walk. He literally... So I look over and there's like this pizza box on the ground. And there's like... I think maybe a slice or two of old pizza, just like a bunch of shit in it. Like, just random stuff. I don't know, like beads. Like, just, I don't even, like, garbage. And it's just like, on the sidewalk. He literally stops as I'm speaking in this moment, pulls out his phone, and, like, we're walking. He stops, takes his phone out, and takes a photo of this stuff on the ground.
What?
And I'm like... I look at him, you know, with those eyes, like, what the fuck are you doing right now? What do you think you're doing?
Oh my
And
god!
he kind of like chuckles at the photo, and I'm like,
What? Get the hell out of
I
here!
know. And I was like, and he's like, okay, and like puts his phone away, and I'm like, okay. Yeah, so as I was saying, and I continue what I was saying, and that was honestly the beginning of the end. Actually, before that was probably the beginning of the end. That was like the middle of the end. I was like, no, I
the
feel
climax.
like, yeah, like disrespected. You are not honoring me at all in this right
Wow.
now, and that's like not cool with me, bro. And yeah, so that's kind of ridiculous. Just a ridiculous moment.
I can't believe that.
I know. It's like, hey, I'm like sharing something intimate, not intimate, but like just sharing my heart with you.
Right.
And you want to take a picture of some shit on the ground? Like, what?
You were telling me this pizza box is more important
Exactly.
than me. The woman you said you wanted to marry. Like, what in the fuck?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, exactly. More important. Deserves your
God.
attention. More interesting. I was like, what? Swerve. What? What's going on? Oh my gosh. Swerve. Swerve out of this accident.
Yeah.
But have you heard of love languages?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you know what yours are?
I don't remember. I took it so long ago.
Okay. Well, so there's words of affirmation, physical touch, gifts, acts of service, and quality time. So there's 5.
Oh.
Any of them ring
I
a
gotta
bell?
retake it. I don't
Okay.
remember.
Okay.
Oh.
What makes you feel most special? Like most seen and like, wow, you really care about me. When someone gets you a random gift, like, hey, I remember you said you liked this candy. Here, I got this for you when I saw it. Or if someone like notices cute things about you and points it out and like tells you how great you are and like
that.
how funny you are. Or like physical touch when you're laying on the couch and they're like stroking your arm or like giving you a kiss. Or,
I love that.
Yeah, it's so sweet. Or,
I love them all. Can they all be my love?
I know. Or like someone empties the dishwasher for you, or checks your oil, or something. I don't know. And then quality time, someone who like wants to like, hey, let's spend time together, like quality time. You know, not just I don't know, whatever shitty time that might be, but like, hey, we're doing a fun activity together, or like I want to just spend time with you. And,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to retake that. That's
Yeah.
so cute.
I know. I love them. But everyone gives and receives love differently.
Yeah,
so
it's
it's
true.
like important to know what love languages are, because if your love language is physical touch, but say
Right.
your significant other's is acts of service,
Right.
he might be doing all these acts of service for you.
Yeah.
But you're like,
I don't care.
yeah, you're like, you're not, why don't you love me? Like,
Yeah.
I just want you to hold my hand and kiss me. He's like, but I'm doing all these things for you. And you're
Yeah.
like, you know? And so it's valuable to know what you
Yeah.
and your partner's love language is, because like, if he knows like, oh, she likes physical touch, even though that's not what I would most naturally do,
Yeah.
because I care for her, I want to
Right.
give her what she needs
Yeah.
in that way, or what you know, what fuels her,
Yeah.
what fills her and makes her feel loved, by like giving her a kiss on the cheek or holding her hand in line at the theater. So I don't know,
Yeah.
whatever it might be. Yeah.
yeah.
So those have like helped me, and even friendships too. Can
Oh.
be like helpful in friendships.
Yeah,
Friendship
I
love
see
languages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, those
Yeah.
were all my questions.
Yay.
Yeah.
I love it. Dating
you.
in LA is so,
It's so weird.
it's so weird. It's so
And
weird.
It's interesting because the more that I do this, I'm learning, you know,
Mm-hmm.
obviously. And I'm learning that the casual dating scene that has become so apparent to me just living
Mm-hmm.
here, you know, it's not specific to LA. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it is popular here, but it does happen. It happens, you know, obviously in Fresno.
Mm-hmm.
When Amanda and Grant were on the show, Amanda talked about how it was very common in Arizona.
Yeah.
So,
I remember her saying that.
yeah.
Yeah, I loved hearing that.
So it's so interesting.
I think every city, because it's a people are different, but they're the same.
Yeah.
You know, we all have the same needs.
Yeah.
We all seek to get them in our various ways. And those various ways, like, aren't specific to one area.
Right. Yeah.
But I always say that LA attracts the best and the worst of the world. It's the city of angels and demons. All of them. Like, some
agree.
of the best people I've ever met, men and women, are living here.
Yeah.
And some of the slimiest are living here. But I think
Slimy slimes.
slimy slime. What do you think is helpful for you, like, moving forward in dating? Like, how do you kind of decide, or even like filter? Because there's so many people out there who are available to date.
Yeah.
You know, or to hook up. Like, what for you is like, oh, that's kind of a I don't really, kind of like deal breakers sort of thing. Like, how do you filter people out?
Yeah. Well, because I'm a waitress, and of course you are too, but that plays a part where, like, the way that they behave in a restaurant, that's a big thing. Like, if, you know, if they tip well and are cordial to the waiter or waitress, and
So do you, like, if they're paying for the meal, do you kind of like eye over at the
Every
check?
time.
Eye
Every
over, like, how
time.
much you tipping them?
Oh, I just want to stretch. Oh, what's
12%?
that? What the fuck is that? Get out of here.
Yeah.
Then I, like, slip the waitress a 20. Like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. That's what comes to mind. But I think the rest is, like, just their attitude. For the longest time, I wanted a guy who was, like, cool. Like, just in every meaning of the word. And then now I'm like, I don't fucking care if he's cool. He can be a dork.
Yeah.
Like, I just want someone who cares.
Yeah.
I actually met this guy at the restaurant. I don't remember if I talked about this with Eva on the episode or not, but I met this guy at the restaurant who I think he was with his girlfriend, but just the way that he interacted with me and with her, I was like, this guy, like, I love your personality. I want to clone you, and, like, you know, like, he was so cool. He had a very kind and open-hearted just vibe, I guess is the word. So yeah,
That's
just
so
looking for something
sweet.
like that.
Yeah, kind, open-hearted.
Open-minded. Yeah.
What's, like, something that if he doesn't like have this maybe characteristic or value, or, you know, what's something that, like, this is kind of like a make it or break it moment.
It's
sort
gotta
of for
be
you.
funny.
It's gotta be funny.
Yeah.
Make you laugh.
Yeah.
You can't be the only comedian.
Oh, no.
No.
I can't be on the spotlight all the time.
No, definitely not. No.
Yeah. And he's gotta like my cat.
Yes. Can't be allergic.
No.
Definitely not.
You have to be a little bit of a cat person at least, you know, or maybe just my cat. As long as you have a good rapport with Milo, then then we'll be okay.
Yeah. I love cats because they're like, they want you to pet them sometimes, and then sometimes they don't. And I'm like, cool. I'm good with that.
That's so true.
You go on your end of the couch, I'll be on mine.
Yeah,
No big.
whatever.
Yeah.
If you want pets, you know, come over here.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm not like a dog who's like, all up in your face. I love dogs are amazing, but, like, I don't want you to be licking my mouth. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Please no open mouth kisses. I can't.
I know some people
can't.
love it though. I don't know. I mean, I love it with humans, but just not with dogs.
Not with dogs.
Yeah.
It's not preferable. I saw this puppy wiener dog at the restaurant on the patio the other day, and I was like, I'm at the end of my shift. Can I please pet your dog? And she was like, yes, of course. And he was in her lap, and so I was like kind of trying to pet his little muzzle and his little head, and his tongue was all over my hand.
So
just
cute.
I was like,
my gosh.
I love you.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So cute.
So that's okay, you know.
Yeah.
Because then I can wash my hands, but
Yeah.
my mouth I can't, like, disinfect.
Even though dogs have cleaner mouths than humans.
I guess, yeah,
so,
apparently that's true.
yeah,
It's just
there's
weird.
It's just weird.
Oh.
Yeah. Not about it. Not about it. One thing that like peeves me on dates, and this is a thing specific to me. Not everyone. Some people will get this. Some people won't.
Tell me.
Is when people don't ask me questions.
Oh, yes.
Oh my
What is
gosh.
that?
I don't know.
Do you want to know about me?
Exactly.
Like, why are we here?
Exactly.
Should we just sit in silence
Yeah.
and stare at each
Yeah.
other? That's fine,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna go.
Yeah. Exactly. Oh my gosh. Like, if you don't ask me questions about myself, because
Yeah.
I am more inclined to get to know you, because I want that.
Yeah.
You know, I understand that people like to
course.
feel important and like to feel interesting.
Yes.
And so if I go on a date and someone can make me feel interesting to them,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to see you again.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, because you cared enough to get to know me, and you made me feel interesting because you were interested in me.
Right.
And what girl doesn't want to feel interesting
Of
to
course.
the person they're sitting across from
Yeah.
or next to or whatever, their date? But if a guy's just like only answering the questions I'm asking him, but not like reciprocating them and then following them up with his own questions, you know, it's like, why not? At the end of the day, I'm like, wait, how did I just go 5 hours without being asked a single question? Like,
Yeah.
Okay, probably not seeing you again.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So all the fellas out there, ask your lady some questions about herself.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
it make her feel interesting, like the most interesting person in the world,
Yeah.
and
That's all I want.
she'll melt.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We want to be the most interesting people in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Like that guy in the commercial.
Oh yeah.
Most interesting man in the world.
Oh my gosh, we want to be more interesting than the most interesting man.
Yeah.
Not like a damn pizza box. Shit.
Oh, I can't believe that.
I was
Wow.
dead. Like, you're
I
joking.
would have gone over and like kicked the pizza box.
Oh my
but
gosh.
Like, what?
I know.
What?
If it were me now, I would have like definitely been a little more aggressive about what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
Ugh. But that was then.
Yeah.
This is now. You live and you learn.
And look at you now.
Look at me now. Look at me now.
So wise. So wise.
Working on it.
And you know what you want.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
in the moment of things, like, you have to remember what you want.
Yeah.
You have to remember what you learned, because I can definitely get blinded by love.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
oh my gosh, this person's amazing and they're so sweet and so handsome and like all these things, and then I'm like, oh well, this one little thing, like, that'll change or they'll get better, you know, whatever it
We
is.
always think that.
We do.
It never changes.
Mm-hmm. I heard this, I don't know if this is completely accurate, but I've heard this quote. So like concerning relationships, like, guys think the men think the women will never change, and then the women think the guys will change. Like, neither are true. It's like women,
That's
like,
hilarious.
we all change and evolve and grow, but
Right.
that thing that I hear so many couples talk about, like, that thing that maybe you thought was a cute, quirky thing of your significant other,
Right.
later becomes the thing that bugs you the most.
Oh, yeah.
Because it doesn't, they don't actually.
Ah,
Yeah,
yes.
it's so funny.
I totally see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But right now, in dating, I feel very open. Like,
That's great.
I don't want
That's
to
a
take it
great way
so
to feel.
seriously anymore. Because I think for a while, I'm 30 now, which is funny because it's like, it seems like now is when I should be getting more serious, or not. I shouldn't should myself, but up until this point, I'm like, okay, I want to find my one. Like, I want my partner. But now I'm like, you know what? That hasn't worked for me. Let's just like hold it a little more loosely
Yeah.
and get to know people, let them get to know me, and be like, hey, you know, if I want to be dating multiple people at a time, just like being upfront about it.
Right.
With if I'm getting to know someone, like, hey, I'm actually getting to know a couple other people, like, I'm dating
Yeah.
right now. I'm not just like being like exclusive with one person at a time.
Right.
But if you want to have that conversation in the future, like I'm all for it.
Yeah.
You know, and just being upfront and honest and let them in so they're not like. I just don't like when people feel anxious. I want people to feel open and real and able to show who they really are and be at peace when they're around me.
It's beautiful.
And so yeah, I'm hoping this year is like a year of better dates.
Yes. Speaking of, shall we?
We shall.
All right. With my signature City of Singles mugs.
I love them. I love them. It's perfect.
To better dates.
To better dates.
Thank you so much for being on the show. Do you want to like plug your Instagram or anything?
Yeah, my Instagram is at Here's the Catch. But it's a little play on words because my last name is Catchadorian, so it's Here's the KATCH.
Awesome.
Here's the Catch. That's me. You
Yeah.
can see different things that I say or do, different thoughts that I have. I got a lot of thoughts, so I share them.
You post your modeling pictures.
Yeah,
and
modeling
stuff?
pictures.
When you're on
some
set and
art
stuff?
recently. Yeah.
Yeah.
All kinds of cool stuff. So.
And if you're not following me, you should. At Bells Chels, BELLSCHELS, and also check out my website, chelseabeller.com. And shout
her
out
YouTube channel.
Yes, my YouTube.
With the stand-up.
With the stand-up, all
Hilarious.
the stand-up. I have my demo reel on there if anyone wants to critique me about that. Say, don't know what I'm doing. And yeah, shout out to Podbean, which is what I use for podcasts. Also, you can listen via Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts. So yeah, y'all have better dates, and I'll talk to you next week with Christelle. Hopefully, she'll be on the show.
Yeah, so exciting.
Yeah.
Yay.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.